Dragon Age. The Veilguard gets heavy PC specs and no Denuvo confirmation. PS5 Pro info. Dragon Age. The Veilguard will have PS5 Pro enhancements using Sony's PSSR upscaler. PS5 Pro will improve quality in both performance and fidelity modes for the game. As previously confirmed, the minimum specs require an Intel Core i5-8400 or AMD Ryzen 3 3000X processor, an Nvidia GTX 970-1650 or AMD Radeon R9 290X GPU, and at least 16 GB RAM. The Veilguard will take up 100 GB of space. An HDD is supported on low settings, but an SSD is recommended. To run the game on high, players will need an Intel Core i9-9900K or AMD Ryzen 7 3700X processor and an Nvidia RTX 2070 or AMD Radeon RX 5700 XT GPU. The GPU requirements jump significantly on Ultra, which requires an Nvidia RTX 4080 or AMD RX 7900 XTX. Ray tracing needs at least 10 GB of VRAM and otherwise similar specs to high or ultra, depending on desired resolution. BioWare also talked about the console specs. The PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S, X versions of the game will offer users the choice between fidelity and performance modes, which, as usual, will target 30 or 60 FPS, respectively. The PS5 Pro version of Dragon Age. The Veilguard has many improvements beyond that, as outlined by Maciej Kurowski, BioWare Studio Technical Director. The game's fidelity and performance modes will both see improvements on the hardware, including improved resolution in 30 FPS fidelity and 60 FPS performance modes. Additionally, there will be various improved visual settings across 30 FPS fidelity and 60 FPS performance mode. We have upgraded image quality thanks to Sony's new AI-based upscaler, PSSR. We've enabled ray-traced ambient occlusion, RTO, in a 60 FPS performance mode, which previously was only available on the base PlayStation 5 with 30 FPS fidelity mode. Dragon Age. The Veilguard is out on October 31st. The game won't offer any preload on PC, while Xbox Series S, X users have been able to preload since yesterday, and PlayStation 5 users will get to do it from October 29th at 9 a.m. Pacific Time. The reason for the lack of preload on PC is that there is no Denuvo DRM in the game. BioWare confirmed that Dragon Age. The Veilguard will not use any third-party DRM, such as Denuvo. That does mean that players can't preload the game on PC. Mass Effect project director Michael Gamble confirmed the Veilguard's lack of DRM on X/Twitter, adding, "We trust you." As we learned earlier this year, the game can be played completely offline. Dragon Age. The Veilguard requirements. Minimum specs. Average performance, 1080p/30 FPS. In-game graphics preset, low. OS. Windows 10 11/64-bit. Processor. Intel Core i5-8400/AMD Ryzen 3 3300X*. See notes. Memory. 16 GB. Graphics. Nvidia GTX 970/1650/AMD Radeon R9 290X. VRAM, 4 GB. DirectX. Version 12. Storage. 100 GB available space. Additional notes. SSD preferred. HDD supported. AMD CPUs on Windows 11 require a GISA v21207. Recommended specs. Average performance, 1440p/30 FPS, 1080p/60 FPS. In-game graphics preset, medium. OS. Windows 10 11/64-bit. Processor. Intel Core i9-9900K/AMD Ryzen 7 3700X. See notes. Memory. 16 GB. Graphics. Nvidia RTX 2070/AMD Radeon RX 5700 XT. VRAM. 8 GB. DirectX. Version 12. Storage. 100 GB SSD available space. Additional notes. SSD required. AMD CPUs on Windows 11 require a GISA v21207. Ultra specs. Average performance, 2160p/60 FPS. In-game graphics preset, Ultra. OS, Windows 10 11 64-bit. Processor, Intel Core i9-12900K/AMD Ryzen 9 7950X C notes. Memory, 16 GB. Graphics, Nvidia RTX 4080/AMD RX 7900 XTX. VRAM, 12 GB. DirectX, version 12. Storage, 100 GB SSD available space. Additional notes. SSD required. AMD CPUs on Windows 11 require AGESA V21207. RT selective specs. Average performance, 2160p/30 fps, 1440p/60 fps. In-game graphics preset, Ultra. OS, Windows 10 11 64-bit. Processor, Intel Core i9-9900K/AMD Ryzen 7 3700X C notes. Memory, 16 GB. Graphics, Nvidia RTX 3080/AMD Radeon RX 6800 XT. VRAM, 10 GB. DirectX, version 12. Storage, 100 GB SSD available space. Additional notes. SSD required. AMD CPUs on Windows 11 require AGESA V21207. RT selective enables ray tracing features in specific areas that can best take advantage of the feature. Ray tracing specs. Average performance, 1440p/30 fps. In-game graphics preset, Ultra. OS, Windows 10 11 64-bit. Processor, Intel Core i9-9900K/AMD Ryzen 7 3700X C notes. Memory, 16 GB. Graphics, Nvidia RTX 3080/AMD Radeon RX 6800 XT. VRAM, 10 GB. DirectX, version 12. Storage, 100 GB SSD available space. Additional notes. SSD required. AMD CPUs on Windows 11 require AGESA V21207. RT selective enables ray tracing features in specific areas that can best take advantage of the feature. Ultra ray tracing specs. Average performance, 2160p/30 fps. In-game graphics preset, Ultra. OS, Windows 10 11 64-bit. Processor, Intel Core i9-12900K/AMD Ryzen 9 7950X C notes. Memory, 16 GB. Graphics, Nvidia RTX 4080/AMD RX 6790 XTX. VRAM, 10 GB. DirectX, version 12. Storage, 100 GB SSD available space. Additional notes. SSD required. AMD CPUs on Windows 11 require AGESA V21207. RT selective enables ray tracing features in specific areas that can best take advantage of the feature. Dragon Age. The Veilguard launches on October 31st on Xbox Series XS, PlayStation 5, and PC. The PC version will be Steam Deck verified and won't require the EA app. It went gold earlier this month.